Well, a lot happened in Agatha last night, and I have to say Marvel's worst-kept secret ever has finally been revealed. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about, quote, teen, the big reveal in last night's episode, and exactly how Agatha deciphered the mystery. Now, we're going to dive into this week's episode of Agatha All Along, and there was a massive reveal. So I'm just telling you guys ahead of time, there's huge spoilers here. If you have not seen last night's episode and not had it spoiled on social media, make sure you go check it out now, because this is a huge part of the series, the future of the MCU, and something that's meant to be a surprise, so I don't want to be the one to spoil it. This week's episode of Agatha All Along has pretty much confirmed what we all knew, and from the beginning we suspected Joe Locke's character, who's been called Teen, was indeed Billy Kaplan. Now, from day one, there's been a lot of speculation about who Joe Locke was playing. Many people thought he might actually be Nicholas Scratch, Agatha's son. But throughout last night's episode, all the clues were dropped. It was really clear by the end he wasn't. And we got confirmation that Teen is actually Billy Kaplan, aka Billy Maximoff. Now, at the end of the episode, Agatha seemed to murder Alice. And at this point, Billy had enough. After a little bit of taunting from Agatha, Billy's powers finally manifest. And after flinging Agatha, along with Lilia and Jen, into a nearby swamp and seeming to drown them, we see a very familiar looking blue crown materialize on Wiccan's head. Now, since then, Joe Locke has taken to social media and basically confirmed what's going on, saying he had to hold this secret for almost 2 years. Now, there are a lot of questions surrounding this huge reveal, and at the top of the list is, how is Billy still alive? Well, I'm pretty sure they're going to be taking a page from the comics. Now, in the comics, during the marriage between Vision and the Scarlet Witch, just like in WandaVision, Wanda created her twins, Billy and Tommy, from 2 lost souls. Now, later in that same comic, Mephisto eventually claims those lost souls. However, the souls have been so transfigured by Wanda's magic, they are actually able to destroy the demon and disperse themselves. Now, the soul of William, aka Billy, was eventually reborn as Billy Kaplan, and in the comics, he's the son of Jeff and Rebecca Kaplan and lives on the Upper West Side of New York City. Now, how powerful this version of Billy Kaplan is, well, that we are still completely unsure of. Just like his mother, he has reality-altering powers, but when you look at some of his wiki entries, the list of powers this character has is massive. With everything from astral projection, clairvoyance, energy manipulation, healing, flight, and even teleportation on the list of potential powers. Now, at this point, it's pretty clear to me, Billy's likely to pull Agatha and the rest of the witches from the swamp. He's not a murderer, but this big reveal in the past week of him being the son of the Scarlet Witch, and that came from Agatha, well, that definitely generated even more questions. Now, many people have already asked, when and how did Agatha know that Billy was the son of the Scarlet Witch? And there was a couple of clues along the way. Now, during this week's trial, he actually said the name Nicholas Scratch, and all along throughout the series, every time he tries to say his name, the sigil blocks that out. And I think Agatha noticed that, along with the confirmation of Rio that he wasn't her son, well, that eliminated that as a possibility. Now, right around that moment, Agatha drained Alice and regained some of her power. And if you remember in WandaVision, she was actually able to detect the presence of the Scarlet Witch simply from her magic. This minor returning of Agatha's power is more than likely how she figured out who Billy was. Now, that wasn't super apparent on screen, but Agatha's swagger definitely returned by the end of the episode, and even the more villainous nature of the character. So I do believe the returning of her powers allowed her to identify exactly who Teen was, and at this point, we're left with a pretty big cliffhanger at the end of the episode, trying to figure out what happens next. Now, the inclusion of Billy Kaplan, aka Wiccan, fills up another big slot in Marvel's future, and that would be the Young Avengers. Throughout Phase 4 and Phase 5, we've been introduced to multiple characters that are likely to be part of this team. This includes Cassie Lang, aka Stature, Miss Marvel, Kid Loki, and even Kate Bishop. So Marvel Studios has already got about half the team lined up, and once we've established Billy being alive, well, it's pretty easy to bring back Tommy, and then we basically have a full team. Now, the best part about this week's episode is we are at the midpoint. This series is 9 episodes long, so we are going to get a lot of time with a charged up Billy Kaplan and a lot more time to explain his history, his powers, and more clues on where he's going to fit into the MCU. I am really loving this series. It has been an absolute blast, something that was unexpected, very fantasy-like, and unpredictable. And at this point, most of the complaints I hear are falling on deaf ears because I really don't know many people who aren't enjoying the series. What do you guys think? Are you excited about Wiccan being part of the MCU and potentially the Young Avengers? And what did you think of the blue crown this version of the character ended up wearing at the end of the episode? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Now, before you take off, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, ring that bell for all the updates, and make sure you get every notification because we do daily Marvel and DC content and we don't want you to miss any news.